Hey, legends, welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart, and on this episode, we're getting into Angel. Great, great little episode. This one is episode 13 of season 1. It's entitled She. Great episode, probably not one of the strongest of the run, but a lot of good points in this one. There's a good bit of humour at the beginning of the episode where Cordelia is having a party at her new apartment. Angel and Wesley's there, and they're trying their hardest to kind of fit in with the crowd there. Wesley, he's dancing like a massive nerd. Yeah, and he's not fitting in whatsoever, but he's not letting it really annoy him. You know, he's being himself as awkward weirdo self, and he doesn't care who sees him, and that is great. Love that in his character. Angel, on the other hand, he's standoffish as usual and whatnot, and there's this girl trying to get him chatting, and they're having a bit of a back and forth and whatnot, and she asks him to dance at one point, and it splits to him doing this awkward, nerdy, silly little dance, and it cuts back again to him standing exactly the way he was, and he's like, I don't dance. So, yeah, nice little bit of humour to start out the episode. Meanwhile, over in another part of the city, there's a factory. Well, factory is like a warehouse where there's ice been used for different things, and there's a man standing in the ice factory, and he hears spooky voices coming from like a coffin-sized crate that he's keeping an eye on, believing that there's somebody alive in it. He breaks open the box, and he's kind of weirded out at the content. So the episode opens at this point properly at the Angel investigations. Angel offers Wesley a position. Whatever we make, we'll split. You know, we don't make much, but as long as you put the effort in, you know, you're entitled to a cut. So, yeah, Wesley, he's overwhelmed at this, you know, and he's kind of fighting back tears and whatnot. Nice little bits of comedy they got throughout the episode. Cordelia has this vision of the man we seen at the beginning of the episode looking into the box, and it's a graphic one of him being burned alive from the inside out at the factory. But yeah, since it's daytime, Angel drives Wesley to the scene. Angel, he's hiding below his blanket as usual. Inside the place, Angel finds the corpse as well as the crate that he was keeping an eye on his garden. Now containing only ice, whatever it was inside is completely gone. In the pocket of the victim, Angel finds a business card for private security, which he takes with him. Hearing a noise from another section of the factory, Angel discovers the presence of a demon named Tay, who reveals he's from another dimension, sent to bring back the vicious demon. A vessel of pure rage is what he describes it as, which has escaped from his realm into LA. Angel goes to the office of this guy that was killed, Peter Wilkers, the private investigator, and finds an envelope containing an invoice for Jericho Ice and a large amount of money in there as well. So Angel's surprised by the sudden appearance of a female demon who pretty much effortlessly knocks him on his ass. She also scorches his arm. So you think to yourself, okay, this is the this whatever was in the box is obviously her at this point in the episode. A little bit of a bait and switch. He gets a call on his cell phone. She leaves and pulling her hood over her head, climbs under her vehicle. Angel gives chase. Tries to call Cordelia to describe the demon's appearance so she and Wesley can begin their research. There's a nice little bit of humour again in here with the whole cell phone thing. This was the early days of it's moments like this when you're watching the series where you start to think to yourself, okay, this is the show itself overall ages fairly well, but then you get those little moments with the early cell phones and the trouble getting good reception on them. It's like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All this sort of stuff. So a little bit of humour with that. Angel follows her to an art gallery, but she sets the security after Angel to try and keep him out of the way. But Angel gets away from the security guards by pretending to be one of these like guides that are in the museum, and he goes into he just steps in front of this crowd of onlookers, art fans that are standing there, and he goes through a little bit of the history of the painting that they're watching. For a change, on like the beginning of the episode, he gets a good laugh out of these people. Of course, the history of the painting he knows quite a bit about because he was actually there. So he gets the laugh out of them. Security disappears off. He follows this woman back to the storage room at the back of the gallery, and she stands staring at the ceiling and turns when Angel comes up behind her and she orders him to leave. But at that moment, this portal opens up above them, and you can hear this screaming coming from it, and this girl drops out of the portal, hits the floor. Angel pulls over a tarp to cover her up. He gets a brief but clear glimpse of the girl's forehead and the raised ridges running along the upper spine. At that, and he makes the connection between the two girls. They're obviously same species and whatnot. So at that moment, where are we at? Tay and his all-male team break into the room armed with weapons. The female demon and Angel team up. You realise at this point, the first time this guy Tay pulls up, he's acting the victim. This woman, demon, is the vessel of pure rage, and we have to stop her no matter what. But at this point in the episode, he turns up with a gang of other guys, and he's got a completely different character. He's not the victim that he was playing at the beginning, but he's ready to take these two girls down, and it doesn't matter who's getting in his way at this point. So this female demon, the first one, and Angel battle furiously, but Tay manages to abduct the newly arrived girl and gets away with her. Looking helplessly after the speeding vehicle. Angel asks the female demon what will happen to the girl and learns that she'll be unmade, is the way this woman puts it. The male demons, they cut back to her. They take the frightened girl to their base, their hangout. Without further ado, they use a special clamping tool to cut out the raised ridges that extend down from the back of the girl's neck to between her shoulder blades. This girl screams, just full of fear, agony at the first cut. So back over at Angel's apartment, he brings this first girl back and gives her a bandage for a shallow cut in her arm while she this is the moment where they start to work out what's going on, and there's a bit of an attraction between the two of them, and nothing that's ever really vocalized in the episode. It's all, you know, just reactions between the two of them and the way that they react to each other. And so Angel tells her that he was cursed, the whole thing. She knows what a vampire is, you not killers and whatnot. So he kind of gives a quick overview of his backstory about the curse and whatnot, and basically I'm just cursed to help people. Focusing the inquiry on her situation instead, the woman accepts Angel's invitation to tell her story and introduces herself as Jira, a princess from Odenthal, another dimension, dedicated to helping other female refugees escape her homeworld to LA. It's compared to where they come from, this is fairly safe territory for them. She explains that the personality is located in the area of the body called the co, if memory serves right. It's where their desires and passions lie at. And at this, she turns her back, shows Angel the raised ridges running from the back of her neck down to between her shoulder blades. So it's the same thing we seen the other girl getting cut off. So whenever that's taken away, the free will of the woman is taken away, and they're more or less slaves to the men at this point in their own dimension. Angel, who found Jira attractive at first sight, is now deeply aroused by her nearness, and he bends his head closer to her neck and resisting his own desires. He either wants to get on her or bite her at this stage. So he's, there's not much left to the imagination of what's going on in his head at this point, and she's not helping matters either. So, this thing is also their physical and sexual power. Everything's in there. This thing glows, and when it does glow, like if they're attracted to someone, this thing in the back of their neck will start to glow. So of course she's attracted to Angel, so you see that as well. So of course she has the power to incinerate people. So there's a lot of hate, let's just say, between the two of them at this point. Feeling herself at the center of intense predators focused, Jira begins a circle. Angel, right? I completely messed up my notes there. She's explaining this. She starts to circle around Angel. They must learn how to control the raw power of the maturing co, that thing in the back of their neck. To which men of this world would respond involuntary. So, as these women are trying to get used to their own powers and whatnot, the men on Earth they can't really control themselves around it. It's like a psychic sort of a deal. She tells them of her own struggle, and with the help of the frozen water to contain the heat under her skin. So that's the beginning of the episode. She was in the box inside ice to help herself just stay under control, more or less. Jira proceeds to demonstrate her power to arouse them both, as well as her iron control of that power. Angel, fighting on several levels of self-control, moves a few steps away and asks about the incinerated corpse at the ice factory and about the other 4 men that through their research they discovered there was 4 deaths over the past year. Jira gets defensive of her manifesto and starts to storm off, but Angel blocks her path. Her power flashes to the surface, and they're almost irresistibly drawn to each other at this point. That'll be a connection lethal to Angel until Jira damps the intensity of her heat, telling him again to stay out of her way. She gets out of his place, leaving him. Yeah, we'll not go into too many details there. He does say later in the episode that he needed to take a shower, so take what you will from that. While Angel and Jira fight Tay's team at the where are we at now? Okay, my notes don't make any sense at this point. Wesley, he continues his research to discover that the men of this demon species are called the Vagaries of Odenthal. Reading from an ancient volume, he tells Cordelia of the Vagaries are said to be fierce warriors and the women live enslaved to them. Also learning that the Vagaries are herbivores and must eat half their weight and partially rotted vegetation every day. So they leave the office to go looking for the biggest compost heap in LA, essentially. So they find Tay's team headquarters in a large plant nursery, and they overhear a briefing about their plans to capture Zira, cut her, take her back to Odenthal to signal the end of the rebellion. She is like a princess in her dimension and whatnot, and like if anybody's going to have the power to keep to free the woman of her dimension, it's going to be her and nobody else. So that they need to take out of all of them, they need to take her out of the equation. The girl who arrived through the portal at the museum, she's shown, and her top ridges are cut, and Tay refers to her as it. The pronoun Vagaries use for woman as it rather than her. So back in 2000, the year 2000, whenever this episode was first aired, we were having the pronoun conversation back then as well. Not as strange and weird as these days, but it was there. Not just an Angel, but another couple of things in the mid-90s were kind of bouncing off the whole pronoun thing. Yes, they're suggesting that it will enjoy going home, and the girl, compliant and seemingly void of all personality, agrees at this point. So this thing's cut off. She's pretty much whatever they tell her to be at this point. So Jira, meanwhile, returns to the sanctuary she has created at the Palm Ridge Spa, where the other young women are being kept. So there's this guy helping them out in the spa out in the middle of the desert. So she's already got at least 7 or 8 girls safely here, and they're in ice baths to keep them under control while they're getting used to the new dimension, more or less. So yes, she informs the spa's proprietor, Mars, that the sanctuary has become compromised and the girls must be moved to another safer location. However, unaware that Tay is writing her tale, Jira tells Mars they will leave the following day. In the meantime, unable to raise their boss by the cell phone, of course we get a bit more of that early cell phone humour in here. Cordelia and Wesley barely escape detection by the Vagaries base and get back to Angel's apartment. They locate him, seek his help, they get him apparently unharmed and unconcerned, just emerging from the shower. Of course, take from that what you will after his experience with Jira earlier in the episode. When he gets the report that Tay's group plans an assault on the undisclosed location, they started receiving their knowledge. This location recently started receiving large shipments of ice. Angel remembers the address listed on the invoice he lifted from the private investigator earlier in the episode, and yeah, that's where the ice was delivered. This is where the girls are at. So Angel gathers Cordelia and Wesley and they head to the Palm Ridge Spa, When they get there, Angel leaves Cordelia and Wesley, who falls down getting out of the car. A little bit more humour from him to act as lookouts. Angel brushes past Mars and finds Jira with the girls in there. Tells her that Tay is closer than she thinks. And at that moment, Cordelia frantically rushes in to report that Tay is here with his group. Cordelia and Wesley are still rousing the girls, trying to get them moving towards the back exit. And Tay and his team burst in. And Wesley is overcome by the power of these girls as he's trying to help them escape, and he's kind of trying to flirt with them at the same time. And of course, Cordelia, being a woman herself, isn't affected by this here, so she's like, catch yourself on, wise up, sort of a deal to Wesley. So Wesley keeps, every time you see him throughout the last few moments of this episode, this is what he's constantly trying to do, is he's trying to help them. Where are we at? The two demons fighting manage to hold down their own until Wesley and Cordelia return to fight after securing the girls are suddenly taken hostage. When presented with Tay's ultimatum, I didn't really say that clearly, did I? There's a fight going on. Wesley and Cordelia get the girls to relative safety and they come back to help Angel in the fight, but the demons overpower the two of them, so they pretty much have got like knives to their throats at this point, and there's like a standoff happening. So when Tay gives the ultimatum to hand over the refugees or see the humans die, Jira doesn't even hesitate, and she says, well then they die, and she turns and walks off. Wesley, Cordelia sees the moment to break free from their captors and start to fight at full strength for their lives. These guys at the same time, they're stunned that she was as cold as she was in this moment. Seems to be a new personality trait that even they weren't expecting from Jira. So the fight happens, appearing out of nowhere. Angel grabs Tay in a headlock and giving him a couple of squeezes, threatens to snap their leader's neck unless the figure he's holding Jira. She gets, I've just jumped ahead of the whole thing. She gets caught outside of the place. The girls are in the back. They're still in the crates of ice. They're in the back of this truck. She's heading to that to get away. And Tay and a couple of the guys manage to get her, and they're about to cut this thing off the back of their neck, and Angel appears out of nowhere, gets hold of Tay, and then gives these guys the ultimatum, let her go or I'm taking him out. So they fold and they release her. As soon as they do, Angel tells Jared to get the girls to safety. Giving Angel a slight nudge, he climbs into the cab of the truck, drives away, and as soon as Jared is out of sight, Angel releases Tay and tells him to go back to his own dimension, and morphing into his vampire face for the first time in the episode let them know that he can make good on his promise of mayhem if they continue their war in his dimension. So the next day, Angel arrives at the office, and one of the best jokes in this episode is the whole coffee joke. At the beginning of the episode, Cordelia has ordered the wrong coffee. She got coffee beans in instead of the regular stuff that you could just put into the machine and get going. And she suggests at the beginning of the episode that Angel should just take the bag and crush it with his vampire strength. Crush the beans down. And at the end of the episode, he's there on his own, and he decides to actually try this. The tester theory that he can effectively grind the coffee with his strength. So the bag bursts, scattering coffee beans everywhere. This happens just as Cordelia and Wesley come in the front door. And Wesley, and good old-fashioned slapstick style, slips in the beans, falls in his ass. Then he gets down on his, of course, now being an employee for Angel Investigations, he's over the top, I have to kiss the boss's ass mode. And he starts gathering up the beans and he's like, it's okay, my fault entirely. I can wash them individually if you like, they'll be as good as new. So, yeah, what appears to be just the natural way for him, it's the Cordelia is just like, it's like an art form, his ass kissing skills. So, where are we at now? In my notes, I've lost myself again. Where are we at? He also starts to apologise to Angel, Wesley this is, for being captured by Tay's men the night before, and it's just like it's not something that would normally happen. Yeah, Angel tries to reassure his friend and compliments him on a job well done, which prompts Wesley in turn to express his sincere regard for Angel and hiding the tears again. And Cordelia is just teasing Wesley for the groveling art form once again. Jira then walks into the office. Cordelia opens. Pretty much he just gives her the verbal fire as soon as she comes in, asking if they can offer anything such as a couple of hostages to let die. And she doesn't really have an answer to this. Of course she doesn't have an answer. Like, she literally left them to die the night before. So yeah, Angel firmly shows Jira into the office and closes the door behind him. And finding out that the other women are safe and away from the city, Angel again tells Jira that he'll stop her if she crosses the line and endangers people in his world while trying to protect the people from hers. Yeah, like, once again, the sexual and tension fic between them. Jira looks at Angel and agrees with his terms. She hesitates, clearly torn, clearly haven't found a desirable mate. And Angel grows even more breathless with the harsh discipline of I have made notes here and I can't read my own writing. I'm sorry about this. So, yes, you can see this thing in the back of her neck at the end of the episode, glowing once again. She is having trouble controlling herself. She's clearly attracted to Angel and he's clearly attracted to her and whatnot. So they can't, on either side, she's got her own stuff to do. And of course he's got the curse to worry about. So, they're both attracted, but they have to resist, sort of thing. Angel sees that he has already inescapably sensed Jira's glow, rage and desire, at war with self-preservation. I apologise. My notes, my writing is shocking. I should really make my notes whenever I'm awake instead of half sleeping at night prior to recording these. Yeah, so Angel at the end of the episode is left standing in the office. Yeah, desperately immobile until she's out of range. He's completely taken aback from the power that this woman has over him. But one of these characters that you would probably expect to show up once or twice in common episodes. But if memory serves correctly, I think this was the only episode she was ever featured on. You do on one of the later episodes, you do see one of the girls from Odenthal in a brothel in a couple of episodes down the line. But great little episode. The next episode in the Angel series is one of the best episodes, in my humble opinion, that was ever created for the Angel series. It was called I've Got You Under My Skin. So I would highly recommend you coming back to the podcast for that review. So that'll be happening. Okay, we're going to be trying to get the show back onto some regular upload schedule. So right now I'm looking at Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays for Hellmouth Hotline. So you'll be getting Buffy on a Monday, Angel on a Wednesday, and then you'll be getting movie reviews every Friday. So come back on Wednesday. And it's really weird that I'm putting it this way. You can listen to this episode at any point. So, yeah. If you're hearing this episode, and particularly on the podcast, it'll be 2 episodes' time that I'll be doing Angel once again. Yeah. There's this episode, and then there'll be a movie review, then there'll be Buffy. So 3 episodes from here will be the next review of Angel. It'll be that episode. I've got you under my skin. Absolutely fantastic. Right, that is going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I wasn't too far off with my notes. As I say, I should really make my notes when I'm awake instead of half sleeping, so I do apologise for that. Anyway, until the next episode, guys, stay safe, and I hope I get the right button to end this with. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.